Hello, Mac, the Irish Football Fan TV. It's myself, Paul Nealon, and I'm joined by Paul Tierney after yesterday's dismal defeat to Armenia, 1-0 to Armenia, away from home. Our opening UEFA Nations League game. It ended in defeat. We will be going through all of that, but we will start off by, I suppose, Paul, just the formation. I suppose I know we naturally play or normally play in a 3-5-2. But against a lot of those teams that we've been playing in that formation, it's because we are, most people would say, inferior to them. So we have to kind of go with that extra defender and play to our strengths with the wing backs. And normally, if Matt Doherty's playing, that's fine because he is our best wing back. I think that's fair to say. I think everyone would agree with that. He wasn't obviously there. He's injured. Seamus Coleman did play there. I'll come to the lineup in a sec, but did you think yesterday was a case that we could have maybe moved to a 4-3-3 and actually tried to dominate from a kind of midfield perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I think it took us a while to get going. Actually, I don't even think we got going at all, really, to be honest. We struggled to get the ball up to the strikers, and when it did get up to the strikers, they couldn't really do much with it. I mean, it was hard going. The boys up top didn't really run at the defenders a lot, and when they did, I got to give it to their defense. They were quite solid, and they put in a lot of great tackles. They were tackling hard from the get go as well, and I mean, in the end, they probably deserved the win because we weren't at it at all. But yeah, we probably needed to change the formation, even at half time. Maybe start with how we did, and when we knew it wasn't working, change it then. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and another disappointing start to a campaign.
Yeah, well, just on the formation, like we'll go through the game, but just on the formation itself, like this is surely a game where we knew look, we were away from home. It's going to be hostile. They're carrying on that over that handball that happened in 2011. That no one really actually remembered that much. To be fair, no offense to them, but like I did the opposition preview with a Ram from Football Kentron the other day, the Armenian football podcast, and they were going on about it, saying that they see us as a rival just purely based on that. Obviously, they have that kind of similar thing that we have to Thierry Henry in France for what they did to us, but from their point of view, like they were going to try and make it hostile, but I think at the same time, I think I called the 4-3-3 in the starting lineup. I'm not a football manager. I'm not Stephen Kenny and stuff like that. I can't be the one to turn around and tell him that he should have played a 4-3-3. I just think a 4-3-3 would have been better in this scenario, just considering the personnel that was in the squad. I mean, Seamus Coleman and Enda Stevens 3 years ago as wing backs, yes, not now though. I think as left back and right back in a four with Duffy and Egan, that's fine, or Collins and Egan or whatever, or Collins and Duffy, either or. I don't think Collins done anything wrong, but I just think there was no real need for that extra centre back. I think you could have had Cullen as the sitter. You could have had then an extra body up top just to occupy them, and then you have your solid back four, which they can just be more kind of concerned about defending. That was my idea behind it. I mean, look, Al McDermott's in the comments there, and he says we need to play forward to back against the lower teams. Need an extra midfielder against the lower teams. Against Scotland and Ukraine, you can play forward. I totally agree with that, and that's exactly the point I'm making before we go into the lineup. But this is what I mean. Like that's why we lacked against Lithuania, but I think that was largely a second string team anyway. But this was our first strength team that we played yesterday, and well, the best that we had available, you would have said. Maybe Obafemi could have started, but anyway, we'll get into that now, right? So, Kelleher in goal for Bazunu, which is interesting. I'll get your thoughts on that in a sec. Duffy, Egan, Collins, Coleman, right wing back, Stevens, left wing back, Jeff Hendrick, Josh Cullen, and then we had Ogbene, Robinson, and Parrott. Am I missing someone there? I feel like I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, sorry, I thought I was. But that's the way we lined up, and I just felt as though. Look, I don't think Kelleher done anything wrong, by the way. I don't think. I'm not really phased whether him or Bazunu comes in because I know that they're going to play well, even Travers. So that for me, I just thought it was a bit mad because I thought Bazunu was his number one. I heard there was rumblings that he had a back injury, so that might be the case. But were you surprised when you saw Kelleher starting?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, because like there was no word on Gavin having an injury, which is why I was a bit surprised. But as you said, I don't really mind Keller coming in. Like I think he's a very good goalkeeper. I do think Bazunu is better, but he's better simply because he's played more games in his career, going back to Shamrock Rovers days as well. So like that's got to be said. But yeah, I was surprised, but I'm like as you said as well. I don't really mind. I think the goalkeepers are all solid goalkeepers, and yeah, I mean, if he had a back injury, I mean, there's 3 more games to go. Hopefully, he can get back in for one of them. But again, I thought Kelleher was quite good. I thought he made a good save in the first half because that was a good shot. And I mean, there was no stopping the goal really, and it wasn't his fault that the shot got away either. So yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed with Keller. I thought he was quite good. I mean, of all the performances, he'd probably be the one who'd get the least amount of flack, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, like the only thing is, I think if he's come in now, he should play the rest of the games because I just think that you need the continuity there between the defense and the players. Maybe that's why you went for it. Look, Duffy, Egan, Collins, I think they played together in the Lithuania game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Coleman and Stevens, I spoke about at wing backs. I just think if they're playing right back and left back, that's fine. I just think as wing backs, a lot of people pointed out they weren't making the overlaps. Um, Hendrick hasn't played much football. I think Malumbi would have been better suited for this game just for the energy. I think Hendrick at times we'll come to it. Josh Cullen, yeah, all day long. He was the only one that you could have said. Him and probably Callum Robinson and Ogbene were probably the only 3 that you could have said were definitely going to play. Ogbene played, Robinson played, and then Parrott over kind of Obafemi, which was um, interesting. I know, look, Troy scored against Lithuania and maybe deserved the shirt, but the way Obafemi's finished the season, there was a big argument for him to start. So were you surprised when you saw Troy's name on the team sheet?
I wasn't as surprised as I was with Quevian being in goal. I think Troy Parr had a good season in terms of overall general play. Maybe didn't get as many goals as he would have liked, but I thought he had a good season, like Obafemi. Um, I did think Obafemi would start, but I mean, I wasn't surprised Troy was in. I mean, I didn't really see him in the game, to be honest with you. I saw a lot of Callum Robinson and Benny, but like, and I suppose that's why Troy went off. He wasn't really involved, and no, I know the ball wasn't going up much to the lads up front, but I wasn't surprised. I always thought there was a chance, and I mean there is 3 more games to go, so I'm sure he'll be chopping and changing up front as well. He'll have to change something now for Wednesday anyway, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't surprised really. I think they both had good seasons, so it's kind of one comes in, one comes out. It's just the way I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now for the next game, considering it's such a quick turnaround and stuff, but and all the flying and everything else, and is there any injuries and stuff like that? We will be at the press conference tomorrow to find out that if there is any injury. So we're not going to do any kind of previews or anything like that till after the press conferences are done, so we know who's available and who's not, because otherwise we're just going to have to redo it. Then I suppose just looking at it, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. I feel like a sneeze is coming on. No, I managed to avoid it. Anyway, in the first couple of minutes, it's just a very slow start. But again, they like we felt like they would. They'll snatch at chances, and if they intercept us, they'll get chances. And Barseghian nearly caught Kelleher out with a shot from distance after Nathan Collins lost the ball. But that's kind of what they were kind of living off, was us forcing our own errors and then capitalizing on it. And we were kind of doing it from the start, because after that Barseghian chance, then Shane Duffy gets booked for a horrendous tackle on their player on the halfway line. And I think that kind of came from Jeff Hendrick just being very lackadaisy, and he did it a couple of times over the course of the game. I remember there was a point where I think he was on the edge of the box and Troy Parrott gave him the ball and he just watched it go past him, and I saw Troy Parrott having a go at him, and the two of them were having a go at each other while the game was being played. I think it was in the second half, but Troy was not happy with him, and he was kind of doing that a lot throughout the game. But in the first couple of minutes, I felt nervous, and you were obviously doing the live tweeting at the game because I was in work. Gary's Wi-Fi was down at the match, so we have there the 23rd minute. We were heading into the first water break. It was scoreless, tough tackles from the home side has been the theme of the game. The best chance of the game fell to the home side with Kelleher saving comfortably from Spertsyan. And then you said you feel like Ireland need to keep the ball a small bit better. So what, at that point, where was your head at? Because realistically, we weren't doing a whole lot, were we? I mean, it was just pass around the back, pass, keep possession. And then it's like everyone's afraid to try and break the lines or, just do something a bit creative. I think I was working with Virgin yesterday, and Keith Tracy said it like, why doesn't someone just try and get on the ball and run at them and try and get in between and get in between the lines and make something happen? It seems like everyone's like afraid to try and make that killer ball or anything like that. I don't know what it is, but we just look like we're afraid to make any sort of errors in case someone gets on our back. And he said as well, like, I don't think Stephen Kenny's the type of fella who get on a player's back for trying to make something happen. Like, if you lose the ball, you lose the ball. But good players lose the ball too, trying to make things happen. But you need to take a risk every now and again. You can't just have it all just simple pass, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Wow. At that point, what were you thinking?
It was your standard Ireland game, really, against. I'm not going to call them minnows because they're not like Gibraltar or San Marino or something like that. But we're definitely better. Like we should be beating Armenia. Like there's no
paper
question.
We're better.
Yeah, on paper, yeah. That's what I mean. But like, we generally struggle with these games. I don't know why. You've seen it over the last few years. It needs a player like Wes Houlihan or something like that. And I know we keep going back to him. That's in the past. But it needs a player like that who'll create something from nothing. And I know these players are very, very good, particularly the midfielders. But Josh Cullen is there. He wins the ball and he moves it, and he's brilliant at it. But we need something else to get the ball up to the strikers. You need that killer instinct a lot of the time, particularly in a game like that where, as I said in the tweet, tough tackles, they were getting stuck in. And when they won the ball well, and they were going forward on the break. And it eventually cost us. But yeah, I was just thinking, like, just missing that killer instinct from one of the players. Get the ball up to the strikers in a good position where they can turn and shoot quicker than taking 3 or 4 touches, letting their boys get back in and get their tackles in. And that's what they were good at yesterday. But yeah, look, we're just missing that killer instinct. It's the same old conversation with these games with Ireland anyway. For the last couple of years anyway, it's the same old conversation.
And do you not think that's where the 4-3-3 argument will come in against these sides, is that you could have that extra midfielder? Look, I know we're not blessed with these technical attacking midfielders, almost like a futsal type player who's very good technically and can open up spaces from nothing. Like, I mean, I said it before, I think we're like Wales without Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Look, Declan Finnegan just literally said it in the comments there. He says, just got back from it. Desperately disappointing, but no creativity from midfield. And that's what everybody's saying. It's the same thing. It's just we're just lacking that creativity in midfield. Like, I think Jeff Hendrick is very good athletically. And I think he'll work hard up and down. And look, maybe he was a victim of not being playing in a long time, same as Shane Duffy. Because the two of them look to be struggling out there. But I think we need more than just athleticism in the middle of the pitch. I think if Malumbi was there, he would have given us a bit more energy and maybe carried the ball. But he's not a creative type of player. He's more just like of a battler and a kind of warrior type of player, which we could have maybe used. But again, our players up front weren't really doing the business for us either. I mean, the Ogbeni chance, he snatched at a couple. And he just really didn't have his best game. He got player of the match, but I honestly think that thing that they give out is just, who looked the best on the day type thing, or who wore the best boots, because some of the times they're giving it to players and I don't know what they're giving it to them for. I'd love to know who actually nominates that. Yeah. But anyway.
That's it. I was just about to say that myself. Like, you wouldn't know, and even when you're at the match sometimes and you hear it over the intercom, you're like, but no, like, what about this guy? He's been brilliant. Or it's crazy, I don't know, but you wouldn't know who's doing it. I mean, standard stuff, like, you wouldn't know. Could be anyone.
But yeah, like you tweeted there, half time, 0-0. A dogged defensive display so far from the home side has kept Ireland at bay with only a few chances to speak about. And Ogbeni has had the best chance of them with a header from a Cullen cross, just gone over the bar. Work to do. I just felt that header That was a glorious, glorious
Yeah,
chance. And he didn't even have to jump for it. He was totally free. Oh, if he actually had a jumped, he probably would have gotten over it and he probably would have scored. But the fact that he was kind of sitting and he just kind of headed into it, um, yeah, it's just,
yeah.
it's
It's
disappointing.
like, yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's so frustrating. Like, and it feels like we have this conversation every international break a lot of the time, which is just unfortunate. I know there's three more games, but you can't help being sick. That's it.
Yeah, well, I think, half time, were you feeling like, okay, there's with that Ogbene chance, it might have given you a bit of optimism that there was a goal coming maybe in the second half, but I felt as though I was still nervous at half time. Now, I was only watching bits and parts of the first half because obviously I was working, but I got to catch a large part of the second half, and I felt as though there was some good play, but I felt the more it was going at 0-0, and I tweeted this, the more it went as 0-0, I feared that they would get a goal on the break, and we'll come to that in a minute. But at half time, what were your initial thoughts? You were out partying, were you?
I wasn't partying. Like at that time, we were just watching it and having a bit of food. Like, that was it. But we were well in watching it. Like, But look, I mean, like I was hopeful that it would improve. Okay, maybe it did a little bit, but it didn't really. And I mean, like you think of their start to the second half as well. They had a goal disallowed for offside, and it was a cracker. Now it was offside, and they came out straight away like they did in the first half, getting stuck in, win the ball back from lax play, and a goal disallowed straight away. They're going to be buzzing off that. And okay, it was offside, but it was a cracking goal as well. And yeah, I mean, I was expecting more, but look, listen, it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I think the second water break you had there at the 63rd minute, just under 20 minutes played in the second half in Yerevan, and it remains scoreless. A goal disallowed for offside for the home side is the closest we've come to a goal in the game. And then you'd said thoughts on how we may change the outcome. I think then Obafemi came on for Parrott. I had actually called this. I tweeted at the time. I think Obafemi needs to come on. I didn't say for Parrott, but I felt as though he needed to come on. My God, was he not good? Like, for all the talk about him and everything like that, and everyone was saying like he really did look out of his depth just on this match day. I'm hoping that if he does play again, he'll be a lot better. Now I could say that for a number of players, not just him, but I was hoping that he'd really make an impact, and it was just a bit of a flop on the day. Unfortunately, that it just didn't work out for him. McLean and Knight came on for Stevens and Robinson in the 73rd minute. At that stage, it was still 0-0, but then 2 minutes later, Spertsyan picks up the ball and drives into space and shoots from distance. Nothing Kelleher could have done about the goal. It was a really, really good goal. I felt as though Hendrick could have closed down better. If you see, I think David Henderson had tweeted on Twitter a picture of kind of Hendrick, and he's closing down the ball, but he's doing it from the opposite side with his eyes closed, and it doesn't look good for him in terms of, I'm sure people will be on his back over that now. But it's a really bad image. If you're Jeff Hendrick, you wouldn't be happy with it, basically. But we were told to watch out for Spertsyan in the opposition preview, and in fairness, everything Aram said to me on the opposition preview was true and came true. They scored, and he's their golden boy. And he had the one. I think he had a chance in the first half. The Shane Duffy had blocked really well early in the first half, but otherwise kept him fairly quiet. But he got forward, and it was some strike, to be fair to him.
It was, yeah, and you mentioned Hendrick not closing down. It was very similar to the goal against the Azerbaijan got at the Aviva back in September. And I saw Dan McDonnell he said, if you don't close down your players, let them have shots, that's what's going to happen. And look, it was a cracking strike, nothing Keller could do, but again, comes from the midfield not closing down. And if you give a player he's clearly got quality, this boy, give a player like that time, he's gonna put it in the back of the net. Disappointing, but I think at that stage you could feel like it was coming. As you said, the longer it goes 0-0, the more confident they're going to be. And look, a cracking strike, but you'd be disappointed with the closing down. And see, Hendrick's obviously going to be the scapegoat. He's the closest one to him, but like, I felt like he had more time, even if he did get by Hendrick to take the shot. You know what I mean? Like, there was no one there. It's so frustrating. It's like Azerbaijan as well. Exactly the same goal. And look, as Dan McDonald said, if you don't close down, that's what's going to happen. So that's it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's very annoying because it's the same things keep happening to us. We can't break down teams. We give them a chance. We don't close them down. They strike from distance, and we're in the shitter then, and we don't know where to go from there. And then they're even more inclined to sit in a low block, more so then, and we can't break them. We can't break them. Sorry. And it's just so frustrating, so hard to watch. And then with the subs that we brought on. Yeah, 81st minute then, Josh Cullen came off for Alan Brown and Seamus Coleman came off for Will Keane. And we were trying to go for it, but we were just... I know Shane Duffy got a header and Hendrick had a strike from the edge of the box, very tame effort straight at the keeper, but both efforts were both at the keeper. And then Duffy had another chance from a corner not long after his other header and he hit a wide. But otherwise, and I think Egan had a header as well, but none of them are really, other than the Duffy one, none of them were on target. My point was, we should have got more players wide and hit balls into the box, because anytime you watch us, I know it's all great playing this lovely football and all of this pass, but a lot of the times where we're most effective is when we're whipping balls in from the wings, I think, and when we've bodies in the box, and that's when we look the most threatening. But we don't seem to do it anyway. The more the game went on, there was just no urgency from the team. Everyone was blowing out their arse. The only player who looked like he actually wanted to get on the ball and look urgent and do something was Jason Knight, I thought. Jeff Hendrick was booked in the 83rd minute for the cynical foul when they're on the counter attack, which was a good professional foul, to be fair, because he stopped them from doing anything. And that was really it. We just were lumping balls up to the box. Will Keane done nothing again. But yeah, you have full time there. Spertsyan's goal in the 74th minute consigned Ireland to their first defeat in 8 games. Still no Nations League win. A disappointing start to the Nations League as we still await our first victory in the competition. Just one other thing I wanted to speak about just before I finish on that. I just was watching RTE earlier on before I jumped on this video, and just looking at our top 6 Premier League performers. So in case anyone, some people might have been watching the game on RTE yesterday, so they might know about this anyway, but I just kind of found it fascinating. Seamus Coleman, Nathan Collins, Shane Duffy, Kieran Clark, Matt Doherty, Adam Ida. Seamus Coleman's topped the list with 30 appearances, minutes played 2,656. Nathan Collins is second with 19 appearances and he'd 1,669 minutes. Shane Duffy, 18 appearances, 1,434 minutes. Kieran Clark, 13 appearances, 1,015 minutes. Matt Doherty, 13 appearances, 874 minutes played. Adam Ida, 17 minutes, 620 minutes played. Now I know Matt Doherty and Adam Ida were out through injury. They probably would have had more towards the end of the season, but I'm just going to remove that spam in the comments there. So block them there. Anyway, that's a fascinating stat. And when you look at our team, are you really that surprised we're losing to teams like Armenia when you have stats like that, when none of our players are playing the Premier League, and they've players who are playing European football and playing for teams? And I know their striker was playing, one of their strikers plays for Club Bruges as well. I think he was on loan from Hoffenheim as well. So they've got players who play for good clubs as well. But a lot of our players, Seamus Coleman was our most appearances, and he's playing in a struggling Everton side. Spoken from an Everton fan, struggling Everton side. It's not him that was a fault for this season as well, by the way. I just don't think he gets a lot of credit for the way he's handled things in that sense. But just in terms of 30 appearances, and he had a lot of appearances for Ireland as well. So I'm just, it's he's 30 something now. It's 33 or 34. It's getting to a stage now where it's alarming how little our players are playing in the Premier League now.
Yeah, it is. It's worrying, as you said. And you even think of Matt Doherty, he wasn't getting in for a lot of the season, and then he came in and he started doing well. So worrying, yeah. And look, I mean, the Championship is still a high level. You got to be honest with you there. I got to be honest about that, but it is worrying. It doesn't sound good anyway. That's for sure. And we want our players playing at the top level. You think of teams in the past, you had John O'Shea at Man United, Robbie Keane at Spurs, was at Liverpool as well, Steve Finnan, etc. It's worrying. And as you said, they have boys playing in Europe. They've one of their defenders plays in Spain for one of the lower teams, but still plays in the top level in Spain and plays week in, week out. Um, Look, I'm still surprised that we lost, but it's the manner of the defeat more so than the defeat. You know what I mean? They didn't put in. It's like they didn't put in effort a lot of the time. It's very easy to pass the ball sideways, forwards, backwards, stuff like that. But it's actually creating chances. And if you lost 1-0, but we created, say, a ton of chances, you probably wouldn't be as disappointed. But it's flat. That's what it is. It was a flat performance, and you feel flat after it. You don't really know what to make of it, but that's what I think anyway. It's flat. That's it.
Real pre-season vibes off the game, wasn't it? I felt. Do you remember the game against Bulgaria?
Yeah, pre-season, end of season. You know what I mean? Yeah, they all kind of morph into one. Like, do we really need an international break here? Now I know we do because of COVID, but like, just some of the boys are wrecked as well, and now they've got 4 more games to play, and it's great for us. We get to go, but like, I'm sure. So, like, Josh Cullen's played most of the games this season for Anderlecht as well. Seamus Combs in his 30s, and he's played 30 matches this year in a really tense season for Everton. You've said that already. Like, I don't know. And like Courtois said it as well about the Nations League. It's like now we're adding these extra matches again as well. Like, the players don't really need it, Now it's great, but I don't know. I don't know. It's baffling sometimes,
No, I agree. The only thing I'd say about those Premier League performers as well, Nathan Collins is going to be in the Championship next year. Adam Eade is going to be in the Championship next year. Kieran Clark won't be at Newcastle next season. And will Shane Duffy be at Brighton? That would leave us with just Seamus Coleman and Matt Doherty out of that list. And I know this Mark Travers is going to go up with Bournemouth, but I don't think there's anybody else going up. From an Irish point of view, like at Forest, I don't think there's anybody, and I don't think at Fulham, I think Osiris is going to be gone from there. So that would literally leave us with maybe Mark Travers, who may or may not play, Gavin Kilkenny, who may or may not play, and Robbie Brady, who may or may not play for Bournemouth next season in the Premier League. Obviously, this is dependent on transfers and stuff over the course of the summer, but right now, you're looking at that and going, Seamus Coleman and Matt Doherty on that list could potentially be the only two that play Premier League football next season of this squad. And I know Matt Doherty's not even in the squad at the moment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's worrying, but we've spoken about this for a while. It's worrying, but yeah, I don't know. Flat performance, and need a reaction on Wednesday. Need a big reaction on Wednesday, I think. Even if whatever about winning, just a better performance, And I know with Ukraine, it's going to be an odd atmosphere on Wednesday, and they have obviously got their playoff today as well. They could be wrecked after that, could go all the way. But just need a better performance. And I think there will be, because they have the home crowd behind them, which there always is when there's a good home crowd. But yeah, I mean, just needs to be better. Simple as better, more effort and better performance. That's all we ask for.
Yeah, well, I think, I'm just going to go through a couple of the comments just because, just to finish off. His funny stuff 956 says his subs didn't make much sense. Should have had made them earlier. Parrott was playing well out of position, and Kenny got the formation wrong. I feel I would probably agree with that. I thought Jeff Hendrick should have came off as well as Josh Cullen, but maybe he's keeping Josh for the other games. Maybe he wanted to give Jeff more minutes, so it'll benefit him more so throughout this couple of games, so he can go back to or get the rust kind of out of his system. He said we need to play 3 in midfield, which is just what we said as well. And then Andrew says, if we can take any positive from yesterday, it is that we will surely see a reaction from the start on Wednesday. You'd like to think so. Eugene McGeever says Ireland take on Ukraine on Wednesday night now. Yeah, we know that. If Ukraine play, Ushin says, if Ukraine play like they did against Scotland, we're going to get ruined. Yeah, if Zinchenko's on form, we could be. But then again, they might just give their fringe players a run.
Yeah, but that's the
If
thing. Like the amount of effort they're gonna have to put in today as well. Like I know, obviously they can't play in Ukraine at the minute, but that's two away games against like for the World Cup. You know, they'd be wrecked, and they put a lot in on Wednesday. But I did like they were good, but then like in towards the end of it, when McGregor got the goal back, they looked a bit dodgy, and the keeper looked nervous. Now I don't know if he's their main goalkeeper or not. I'm not. I need to do a bit more research on them. Obviously, we know Yarmolenko and Zinchenko and stuff, but like from what I've seen Zinchenko in the Premier League, he can be got at. You know, like he was good on Wednesday. It's probably the best I've ever seen him play, really, to be fair. But like he can be got at, and we've got players who can run at defenders. You know, to just get at him from the get go. And they did look a bit nervy when Scotland started to press them. Now they were good for the vast majority of the game, and probably could have had a few more, but yeah, I mean, like they can be got at, you know, and they'll be wrecked. So I think it'll go all the way today with Wales as well. So you know, it's a tough one to call, tough one to call.
the only thing I would say is that Zinchenko's always playing midfield for them, and he
Yeah,
just pulls the string. So if Spertsyan can do it, then I'm sure Zinchenko will be having a field day. The only thing I'd say is that Mikalenko, obviously playing with Everton, has grown into the season and became a really good left back. I'm sure Seamus Coleman will be telling Stephen Kenny all about him. David Salter says, we need a reaction in the Aviva. Our set pieces are nowhere near good enough. Jason Knight needs to start. Come on, the lads. And he says, I think that's more important to get League One players into the Championship like Parrott and Chio, etc. Well, they're probably going to be there next season anyway. Then what else?
Chio definitely is. Anyway, it depends where Parrott goes, or if Conte wants him even to just be involved in the squad for the Champions League. We don't know, but probably not, considering they've been given 150 million to spend anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, let's leave it at that. Huge thanks to everyone who joined us in the comments. We will have this as well out as a podcast. So if you are wanting to listen back, if you're only joining us now, it will be on YouTube and it's on Facebook as well, and also on podcasts as well. So huge thanks to Paul for joining. We're going to have more content. The press conferences are out tomorrow. We're going to be at them, and then there's going to be a match preview Paul's doing with a couple of our lads, and then Gary's going to be at the 21s. And then Tuesday we should have opposition previews going out as well. So there's loads of stuff to keep you up to date ahead of the game against Ukraine. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video, as it helps the channel grow. And yeah, thanks very much for your time. I'll speak to you all later. Cheers, Paul.
See you soon. See you, Paul. Cheers.